always thought my life was ordinary. A desk job at Biodyne Pharmaceuticals, a dull apartment, one houseplant I kept forgetting to water. My daily routine consisted of coffee, work, microwave dinners, and regretting my life choices while watching reruns of 90s sci-fi. So when I say everything changed in an instant, I mean it literally started with a glass vial and a woman who didn't blink. Her name was Sarai. She appeared out of nowhere. Or rather, she'd been working in the biochem lab for 6 weeks, but I had somehow never seen her. That's how Biodyne operated. Projects were compartmentalized. One floor didn't know what the other was doing. You could work next to someone for years and not know their last name. Sarai had sharp cheekbones, eyes the color of mercury, and a presence that felt wrong. Not threatening exactly. Just off like an uncanny valley effect, but in person. She was always staring. And one day, she walked up to me with a kind of certainty you usually only see in generals and cult leaders. "You're the one," she said, setting a small silver vial on my desk. "The one what?" I asked, already glancing around for the hidden camera. She ignored me. "We are mated for life now. You've already touched it. It's keyed to your DNA. Excuse me." She leaned in. Her pupils shifted, almost slit-like. "You'll understand soon. When it happens." Then she turned and walked away like she hadn't just declared some cosmic marriage and dropped off a prop from a sci-fi horror flick. I picked up the vial. It was warm, faintly humming. I didn't tell anyone. Not at first. Maybe because I didn't want to admit how curious I was. Maybe because a weird part of me wanted it to be real. A week later, during a late-night inventory check in the lab, I made a mistake. The lab was quiet, and I was exhausted. I had a headache, I was sweaty, and my fingers were trembling from skipping dinner. That's when I saw 2 vials on the bench. One was clearly labeled adrenal rebalancer. The other wasn't labeled at all. But it looked exactly like the one Sarai had left me. I meant to grab the rebalancer. It was supposed to help with fatigue. Just a sip. I took the other one by mistake. The moment the liquid touched my tongue, it was like swallowing sunlight. Or acid. My chest seized, eyes burned. And then everything inside me twisted like it was rearranging itself. Collapse. The last thing I saw was Sarai standing in the doorway, smiling. When I woke up, 3 days had passed. I was in a clean room. White walls, bright lights, and Sarai perched at the edge of my cot like a loyal pet or jailer. She handed me water, said nothing, and watched as I vomited into a waste bin. What happened?" Croaked. "You ingested the bond catalyst," she said. "The what?" Sarai tilted her head. "I had meant for it to be slower. Mutual. But your error accelerated the process." "What process?" Sarai's skin shimmered, and for a moment, her human form flickered. Beneath it was something taller, sleeker, with opalescent scales and 4 eyes that moved independently. Then it was gone like a mirage. "You have bonded with me on a cellular level," she said calmly. "We are now conjoined. You will begin to change. You may already be feeling the neural shift." It was, though I didn't know it yet. The first few days after my release were a blur. My perception sharpened. I could hear the humming of lights. I could taste the emotions in people's sweat. Most disturbingly, I could feel Sarai. In my head. Like a second presence. "You need to eat more greens, she'd say without moving her mouth. "Your liver enzymes are sluggish. Or worse. That woman you're thinking about? She has poor gene symmetry. Not suitable. It was like living with a sarcastic alien nutritionist/stalker inside my skull. I tried to quit my job, run away, anything to feel in control again. But wherever I went, I saw signs. Symbols I'd never noticed before, etched in buildings or patterns of rust. My dreams were no longer mine. They were memories, of space, of creatures that didn't use mouths to speak, of rituals where two beings merged in a psychic embrace that transcended time. The scariest part. Piece of me liked it, needed it. Then came the test. Biodyne wasn't a pharmaceutical company in the traditional sense. It was a cover. Sarai admitted as much after I confronted her, ranting in the hallway until she blinked and took me to sub-level V, past retina scans and doors I didn't know existed. There were tanks, rows of them. Inside floated hybrids, human in some ways, utterly alien in others. Tentacled infants, adults with translucent flesh. My nausea returned. You weren't the first, Sarai said. But you're the only one who survived full bonding without disintegration. What are they? Asked. Failed initiates. Biodyne was designed to find candidates like you. People genetically open to union. Backed away. You tricked me. She shook her head. I guided fate. You accelerated it. I wanted to punch her, to scream. But my hands were already glowing, veins lit with bioluminescence. My skin was changing. I was becoming something else. Over the next month, Sarai trained me. I stopped sleeping like a human. My blood turned slightly iridescent. I could sense thoughts, manipulate small objects without touching them, and phase through certain materials if I focused hard enough. The worst part. I could no longer lie. Not even to myself. That was a trait of her species. Total internal truth. The alien in me, let's call her Alara, a name I pulled from the echoes in my brain, began surfacing more. She wasn't Sarai. She was part of me. A mental graft. A consciousness I'd inherited through the Vial. We were one being now. At some point, Sarai stopped training me and started walking beside me as an equal. We'd sit on the rooftop and communicate without words. She told me her world had been dying, that her kind chose bonding over extinction, embedding themselves in promising species across the galaxy. We don't conquer, she said. We merge, improve, survive. I asked if that meant Earth was next. She looked up at the stars. Only if you want it to be. Then came the others. It started with a sudden drop in temperature one morning. Then reports of strange lights in the sky. Biodyne went into lockdown. People in the city started acting odd. Pausing mid-sentence, eyes rolling back. They were being scanned. Sarai turned pale. They've found us. Who? The others. My kind but fractured. The ones who refused the bonding code and took what they wanted instead. They consume, not merge. I left them long ago. She handed me another vial. This one red and marked with a symbol that hurt to look at. Drink this if they take me. It will complete your bond and unlock your full abilities. What if I don't want to be a weapon? You already are. That night they came. They weren't ships, not exactly. They were more like dimensional ruptures, tears in the sky through which liquid darkness poured. Cities went silent. Buildings crumbled. People were possessed like puppets. The others were hunting Sarai. I saw her fall, lashed by a tendril of energy that crackled with entropy. Her body flickered, then vanished. In my hand was the vial. I didn't hesitate. The change was unlike the first. Not pain. Clarity. I saw everything. Every connection between matter, every thought on the planet, every memory Sarai had left me. I didn't become her. Became us. Unified. I walked into the street and the others saw me. They halted.